Trying to do this training session for everybody, and everyone else, thank you for taking the time to do this. We'll certainly go through the platform. We'll look at it from your perspective, what you'll see, how to use it, what to expect the day of the event, try and get you as comfortable as possible. As Joanne said, it's being recorded so that if you miss something or want to use it as a refresher, that's great. Joanne will get that out to you at some point soon. We'll break down what we're going to do today. We'll look at the platform, we'll look at a couple setup items, then look at the day of functionality, and then at that point we'll open it for questions to see if there are any questions about functionality. But let's get through those first two elements to see if some of the questions get answered as we go through the functionality of it. So I've shared the screen. Everyone should be able to see the booth that I've highlighted now. This is what you will see once you get what we call the credentials email, which a majority of them have been sent out. There's still probably maybe half a dozen or a little more schools that we need to set up for representatives to get the information out. But I do see that people have received the credentials. You're logging in, which is great. You'll receive the email from info@ecareerfairs.com. There'll be a link there to your booth. Go ahead and follow that link once you get it. You'll see your email is going to be the username. There's a password that we've created for you. And once you follow that link to the booth, go ahead and manually type that in, manually type the email, manually type the password, and then sign in. Sometimes if you cut and paste that information, it'll add extra characters and it won't let you in. The information in that email is accurate. We made it for you. So again, once you receive the email from info@ecareerfairs.com, follow the link to the booth, manually type in your email on the left-hand side of the page, type in your password that we gave you, and then sign in. Once you do that, you'll end up at what we're looking at right now, which is the booth. In that email, we suggest a couple things that you should do first. I'm going to talk about the setup items, and then we can jump into the functionality. There are really three things that we want you to do once you get into your booth. And if you see at the top right of the page, you'll see that there's a circle menu and a 3-bar menu up here. So what we want you to do first is to change your image to make it more personalized if you choose to do that. Test your video. You will have the ability to enter a video conversation with students if you choose to do it. It's up to you. You don't have to. You can if you choose. And then change a personalized greeting. But we're going to go ahead and do the image first. So go ahead and click on the circle menu up here at the top first, and then go ahead to edit account. And once you go to edit account, you'll see a tab here that says My Picture, and go ahead and click on My Picture. What you want to do is find that picture by browsing, select it, and then on the right-hand side down here, you click Save. And once you save that image, you'll see that in the circle menu up here, which means it was uploaded successfully, okay? The second thing we want you to do is test your video. And testing your video, I'll just show you what happens here. Testing your video, you'll see that tab next to My Picture. You hit Test Video. You'll see a Start Video icon here, a little video camera icon here. You can use either of those to test your video. What you want to do is click that. The browser will ask you if you want to allow the video and the microphone. Yes, allow that, please.
Can you blow that up a little bit and zoom in on it? Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just cannot, my old eyes can't see.
No problem. Thanks for speaking up. I appreciate that. So again, test video. And once you hit the Start Video icon here or Start Video, you'll get, I can't blow that one up, but you'll see the share the camera, share the microphone. It's a browser-based thing that'll show up. You allow that, and then you'll see your video camera start like this. That means you're good to go. So you can use video during the event. And in order to stop it, you can see the little icon here turned red. You just hit the red icon to stop your video, and then you can move on. It's all browser-based. There's no third-party downloads, no third-party apps, nothing like that. We highly recommend Chrome or Firefox as the 1 and 2. It is also mobile-friendly. So if students are participating with a phone or a tablet, they will have the same experience from their phone as they would if using a browser as well. No downloads required on that side either. So just keep that in mind. So again, the first thing, go ahead up to the circle menu at the top, hit Edit Account, change your picture. If you need to edit some of the information in your account, you can do that here. But go ahead to My Picture, Test Video, and those are the first things we want you to do. The third thing we want you to do is to change your personalized greeting, which I see some people have done, which is great. Go to the 3-bar menu at the top right, go to My Events. What you'll see is this thought bubble here with the 3 dots. When you mouse over it, it says Edit My Greeting. Go ahead and click Edit My Greeting. You'll see an empty box here. This is where we want you to type that message, and we recommend that you make that as specific as possible just to help a student get to the right person. If there's multiple people in your booth, you might want to help them determine which person might be better to speak with. It just helps eliminate some of the back and forth in the general questions. Certainly go ahead and type in your greeting and use the Save button, and once you do that, you'll see your greeting. Your title's already there, the booth, your name, and your image will be here as well. This is what someone would see when they come into your booth. They'll see your representative information inside that booth. Now at the bottom of my screen, I have something that's called the toolbar. This toolbar down here will only show up the night before and the day of the event, okay? It's a way for you to navigate through the event. It follows you around, but it won't show up until really the day of. To expand it, you can use either the icon here to the left, or just click anywhere in the middle of the empty space to pop it up like this. And I do this because under My Event settings here, if you expand that, you also can change your greeting here, the day of the event or the night before. When it pops up, go ahead and type in your greeting, hit Save. And if you want to adjust it during the event, feel free to go ahead and do that at any point. Just make sure you hit Save once you adjust that greeting. Now this toolbar also becomes a navigation item during the event. It's a little helpful way to get around. On the left-hand side here, you can see that there's the title. So clicking that, it's an active link back to the booth. You also at the very top, that title of the event here is also an active way back to your booth. And then if you go to My Events, you'll see there's an icon here that's basically, you mouse over this arrow to pointing to the right. It says Enter Booth, and that's the third way back to your booth. So if you ever need to navigate back to the booth, there's a few ways to do it. So go ahead and use that to get back to your booth. All right, let's talk about some of the functionality that you'll see during the event. As I said, once you log in, you'll see your booth area. There are 3 main areas to the booth. The right-hand side is really the biggest part of it. This is what we call the conversation queue. Upcoming conversations tells you how many people are in your queue here. The people that request a private chat with you will end up here. You'll see that chat request here. The system allows you to have up to 4 private chats at once. So if you want to chat with 4 students at a time, that's your choice. You can do that. You don't have to. It's up to you how many chats you want to start at one time. And then you can see here, it tells you I already have 3 ongoing, so I can start up to 1 more. We'll come back to the queue and how to start a conversation in a minute. On the left-hand side, you see general questions. This is a public forum. In essence, when someone comes into your booth, if they have a general question, they might type that question in the box. You'll be able to see that. And any other student that comes into that booth throughout the event will be able to see the questions and the responses that you or any of your other team members type into the box to respond. If you need some more space, you can see at the bottom of this, you can expand it. If you want to type more and see more of your typing area, you can do that as well. But again, this is a public forum. Type your responses here, and they'll show up to anyone who comes into the booth, into the general questions area. The other area which is key is the registered students link in the top left. So if we want to click on the registered students link to be able to see the students that are registered for the event, and this will show up soon. I'll have to check the date and time, but it'll show up at some point over the next couple of days so that you can go into the list of people that are registered to participate. You can look at someone's information if you were to click on their name. You can see the information that they filled out as part of the registration process. It's not all required, but some of it is in terms of the high school name or their academic extracurricular interests, year of graduation, GPA, SAT, ACT. So it's a bunch of information that's collected for you. If they decide to upload a transcript or some document, they can. You would also see that information. It looks like you'd see the preview of that transcript here, and then you'd see that other information below it in the details which they filled out during the event. Now the key here is you have the ability to save this information. If you want to save it, You'll always have access to the top menu to your saved students area, so you can always get back to the saved students. And one of the other key things is you can invite people to chat. So if you're looking at their profile before the event and you click invite here, it'll send them an email that says that you are interested to have a private chat with them once the event starts. When that student logs into the event, they will see their invites. They'll see a list of those. They can accept those. And when they do accept it, they'll end up in your chat queue here. Okay, so that's one way they can end up there if you invite them. Another way is they come into your booth, request a private chat with you, they'll end up here. During the event, you can also invite someone to a private chat. You can see next to someone's name here, you can click invite. And when you click invite during the event, they'll receive an on-screen display that lets them, that automatically says they are invited to a chat. So they can accept that right away. And when they accept that, they'll also end up in the chat queue. And what I want to show you is they end up in a chat queue, and you'll be able to tell that you invited them because they'll have a little envelope next to their name. There's a little icon here that looks like an envelope. That means that you actually reached out to that student, invited them to a conversation, and they accepted it. If you didn't reach out to them and they just jumped into your conversation queue, it'll look a little different. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second here. So what happens in that case, just refresh the screen. What happens in that case, if they just come into your booth and enter your conversation queue, again, they'll still show up here in your queue, but they won't have that little envelope icon next to the name because they just requested a private chat with you. Either way, this is where your list of people will be that you need to start private chats with them. The system, as I said, will allow you up to 4 private chats at one time. That's your choice to do that or not. The student can only talk to one person at a time. That doesn't mean they can be in multiple queues. They can be in 10, 20, however many different queues they want to be in. They can move around the event. They'll have a toolbar at the bottom that lets them know who they're waiting to chat with, because once they've requested the private chat with you as a representative, now it's up to you to decide that you're going to start to engage with that student. If a student is engaged in another conversation, this dot next to their name will be red. That just means they're in a conversation. You won't be able to select the box here to check to start the conversation with them, but you can pick anyone else in the queue and start a conversation with them. There's no order in which you have to select someone in the queue. You can take anyone out of the queue and start a conversation with them. Okay? So let's jump into a conversation. You go ahead and check the box next to someone's name. You'll see that start conversation becomes bright blue. If you don't check that and you hit start conversation, nothing will happen. So make sure you check the box next to someone's name, hit start conversation. That'll take you to the conversation queue. The conversation queue looks something like this. I'm sorry, your conversation page. So this is the person you're chatting with. You can see their profile on the left, and that's always visible to you on the left-hand side as you're in a private chat. You can see that there's a fixed amount of time for the private chat. We're actually going to default it to 10 minutes. And so each private chat is 10 minutes long. And so if it comes down to 5 minutes, then you'll be able to increase that chat time if you choose to do that. Now, to start a conversation, on the bottom right here, all you have to do, type in the box and hit enter or send. They can respond back. And as I said, that chat thread goes for that fixed period of time. If you choose to engage in a video conversation with the students, here's that start video chat button right here. And this is why we ask you to test the video prior to the event, because if you're in the event and you want to use a video conversation, you want to be sure that it's going to work properly if you decide to use start video chat. You don't have to do that. It's up to you. But if you do decide to make that happen, you hit start video, you get a warning that you're going into a video conversation. And when you click OK, you'll get a video window that pops up like this. Again, you don't have to leave this page. There's no downloads. It's a simple transition from text to video. You start your video and your stream will be on the bottom. The students will be on top, and now you're engaged in a full video conversation with that individual. A word of caution. If you are going to engage in a video conversation, we highly recommend you only chat with one person at a time, because what you can see here at the top left, you can see these other conversations are going on here. Those are the text chats that you have going on. And you have a video chat going here. If you choose to move to another conversation by touching the tab, that video camera does not shut off. So be careful. If you choose to do a video conversation, I would highly recommend having one chat at a time, engage in the video chat, finish that video chat, then move on to the next person. Okay? To move back and forth between those video conversations, you just have to touch, or the text chats, you just have to touch the tabs at the top. And if you're on another tab and someone responds to you, you'll be able to see that there's the tab goes blue and blinks. So that means that it's your turn to go to respond to that individual. You just have to touch that tab, you go back to see what they said and continue that chat. All right, and when the conversation is over, one more thing to point out. If you have 4 conversations going right at the time, okay, that means that you've met your max at one time. If there are other people in your queue, their dots might be green, but you won't be able to check the box to start conversations with them because the system sees that you have 4 chats going already, so you can't start anymore until you end these other conversations. That links to that number 4 is in the link. If you end up in the booth, you want to go back to your active chat, just click the 4, whatever that number is there, it'll take you to your conversation page. Now, when the conversation actually runs its course and you want to finish it out, even though there's time remaining, either you or the student can use the End Now button to move on. And when you hit End Now, you get a warning. And then the system is going to ask you to wrap up that chat. Wrapping up the chat is basically taking notes, using the star rating. It's not required. You do not have to use it if you don't want to, but if you want to, put a star rating on there. Take notes, whatever notes you might want to take. They're for your reference only. They're not shared with anybody. They're only for you to come back as a reference to see that after the event or after the conversation when you go to your history. All right. And what you'll notice here is when I use the Finish Conversation button at the bottom right, the active chat tab will disappear, which means I'll be able to open up a slot if I want to go pick up someone else out of my queue. And when I hit Finish Conversation, that also creates the history of that chat. All right, now is a good point.
David,
I know
David,
yes?
I'm sorry. I have a quick question.
Perfect.
So are we able to live present to multiple students, or do they have to be individualized conversations such as this?
So that's a really good question. Currently, it's a one-to-one private chat with the students, okay? The general questions area is where you can have a multiple ask a question, answer the question, which is for everybody to see and hear. We do have something that's called live stream, and I'll have to have a conversation with Joyanne after this to see if that's something that can be offered to any of the schools. But there is a live stream capability that the students, you could broadcast in the booth, so the students could see what you're saying. It's not a screen share in terms of a presentation, but you could be talking, you could be answering questions that are in the general questions, and everyone can watch and hear that live stream. That is something that's possible. I just need to talk to Joyanne after and see how we want to offer that out to all the different schools.
So it sounds like it's pretty similar to that Nova platform. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not familiar with Nova.
Oh, okay. Okay. It seems pretty much the same. Will we, and I may have missed this at the beginning, are we going to get an email that prompts us to be able to go in and create our profile? Or?
So once you receive an email, that means your profile has already been set up in terms of the booth and your account. I will touch base towards after this. There's another section of training that will talk about uploading any links and documents and things like that you can do once you have that email from us.
Okay, so you guys haven't set that out though, right?
We've only set up your account, your username, password, the booth. The school has the logo, the description, a video for the profile, but you can add other links and documents to the booth if you choose to do that.
Okay, because I mean, I'll dig through my emails because I don't remember getting anything.
Yeah, we still have some to set up. I would say the majority of them have been done. There are
Okay.
probably about 15 or 16 schools or so that need to be set up. I don't know which group you're in, but there's still some that we're completing.
Okay, right on, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, I was going to open up for questions, so that was a perfect time for questions. Any other functionality questions that I could answer for you at this point?
I have a question. Can you tell me how it works if we have 2 reps in the same booth?
Absolutely. So each representative has their own login or username and password.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What someone would see, I'm going to show you what a student would see if they come into the booth. They'll see 2 representatives like this.
Okay.
Okay. If you're both logged in and both accepting conversations, they would be able to enter your conversation queue by clicking that link, which means they would show up in your queue here that they requested the private chat. All of your private chats are private between you and that student. Nobody else sees that. Your other representatives don't see those private chats. And hopefully that answers the question for you.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a place to designate where or how many students we want to chat with at once? Like, do we have to check somewhere like we want to chat with 2 or 3, or is it just up to us how many we choose to chat with, or do we have to mark it somewhere?
You don't have to mark anything. The system will allow you to chat with up to 4 at once. It's
Okay.
your choice. If you chat with 1, that's great. If you want to choose 4, then that's your choice.
Thank
The
you.
limit is 4 conversations at one time for each representative.
Hi, David. Thanks for doing this. I was wondering, first of all, when you talked about earlier the students that are registered, is that registered to see our specific booth or registered for the event in general?
So once they're registered for the entire event.
Okay.
So, and let me see if I can show you. So they'd be registered for that event. And then they can choose which booth to go into from that lobby of all the different schools.
Okay, cool. And that kind of leads into my second question is there any way for us to see what exactly the students are seeing as they're entering into the fair?
Great question. So each representative at the top of their booth, they have a couple icons up here. There's some help, there's some statistics, and then here's the little preview icon here at the very top. So if you click that icon, this is what they will see. That's what it'll look like to them. Well, they'll be able to see the profile. They'll be able to click on that link to show the information, any video, any documents or links. And what I'm going to try and do here is give you a better look at it, basically from the student perspective. This is what the lobby looks like now for the event for next week. So they can look at the different schools. They can click on a link to see a video that's associated with the school. The students also have the ability to save schools for their favorites. They can click on the view profile to look at the profile. They can't go into the booth until the day of, but they can certainly look at the profile. And this is where those links and documents would be. Let me show you another view. Hang on. This is what it would look like once you upload some documents. They'll be able to click on that link to see the different documents, whether it's a link to a video, a link to a website, whether it's a docx or a PDF. And we're going to get to show you how to put those up. And as you see, the students can go in and save it, and then click into any booth and then see the general questions area and the representatives that'll be there for that event. And inside the booth, they can push this down to see the information about the school, the video, the links, and then they always have their saved colleges link to get to up here on the top right as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, just a question. Is it possible for us to just kind of have a sense of how many students are pre-registered for the event so far?
Yeah, I'll have to defer that question to Joyanne. I don't know that I have the number in front of me. So Joyanne will have to get that information out to you.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
David, do students have the ability to start video chats, or is that only solely on the representative side?
Solely on the representative side. The only thing they can do is accept it. What we recommend, and I believe they were made aware that it is possible that a video request would be made, but when you're in that private text chat, you might want to have a conversation in the text threads. Hey, we have the video capabilities. Would you mind if we engage in a video conversation to see what it is? Again, they're on a phone. We don't know what their environment's like. We don't know if they'll be able to do that. So they don't have to accept it. They can just continue to type this text, but you're the only one that can initiate the video conversation.
I have a quick question. Are there any filters on the student side so they can filter institutions?
Yes, good question. So what they can do is, if I get to the lobby of the event, just bear with me. They actually can do, if they looking at the event lobby, they can click this filter and they look by state, school sizes, by college name, so they can filter down and get a smaller subset of schools based on their criteria.
David, is there any way to monitor the general chat booth if you're in a private chat with the student?
Great question. The answer to that is yes. Okay, so if you see here, I'm back in the booth for you as a representative. There's a little icon here that looks like an arrow pushing to the top right. What you should do is click that icon. That pops out the general questions like this. And then what you can do is size your browsers appropriately and get to the private chat if you're in the private chat. Now you can have your private conversations and monitor that general questions behind the scenes if you choose to do that.
David, going off the general chat, is there a way for us to delete questions once they come in if we need?
Yes, couple things about the general questions area, and actually anywhere that there is text entry. There are profanity filters in place, so it will not allow any profanity to be typed into any of the text chat areas, number one. Second, if you do see a comment or something that's inappropriate, you can mouse over the person here or that comment itself, and you can see if I slide to the right, you'll see a little trash can icon.
Thank you.
Click that icon, delete it, and you've deleted that comment from public visibility. What I'll also point out is on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a help tab here. So during the event, we will be monitoring the event live, so that if you do have a question or need assistance, or anybody for that matter needs some help, tap that help icon, ask us a question. As I said, we monitor it live, we'll answer immediately. And even if you feel that there's some inappropriate students, whatever it might be, we can remove them from the event if that's the case. So remember that it's there, it will be available for you during the event.
Quick question, from the private conversations, I know you said after we close the conversation and we put in our notes and our rating, you said there's kind of a history aspect. So would we get that information after the event, or how would we get that information after the fact?
Great question. Let's talk about a little bit of the history. So even during the event, once you close out a conversation, you can go to your history. And to get to your history, at the top right menu, the 3-bar menu, click on that, click on My Events, and then you'll see this icon here with counterclockwise arrow. You mouse over this icon, it says History. So if you click on the history, this shows you all of your completed conversations that you had during the event. You can get, as I said, once you start finishing those conversations, you can get to this at any time. What you can do is look at a particular individual. You can see where the star rating comes into play. If you click on the person like this, you'll see the conversation. You'll see your notes as well. You'll see the profile. And then what I recommend you do after the event is at the top left. Here's a My Event Stats. If I expand that, there's a download link here. This download link, and I would wait till after the event, You can download a comma-separated file that will give you all the information of your completed conversations in a single file with the student's name, contact information, and your conversation, your notes, and a link to that profile. Again, it's for only the completed conversations that you had in the one-to-one private chats, but you can certainly download that if you choose to do that.
David, I know that we can rate our students and they can star us as well. Are we able to see if a student has starred us?
At this point, you won't. That's only for them to be able to save the college. But I don't believe there's anywhere that you'd be able to see that they have saved your college. But that's a very good question.
David, quick question about student data after the event. I'm sorry if you mentioned this and I missed it, but will we be getting student data after the event? And is that only for students who have entered our booth, only for students who have chatted with us? What does that look like?
So for the history, each representative can only download the information of the private chats. Now, Joanne and group as the host, they have access to a whole bunch of other information. They're going to have to decide how they want to give that information to you, whether they provide the booth visits, all the students, anything like that. That's a question that you might want to ask Joanne and their group, and how they want to get you those details and how they will provide that.
Hi, David. I'm in the booth attachment section for my booth. I have a profile page of the SUNY Fair a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
And I'm having issues uploading an attachment. It keeps saying that it needs to have a file name like .pdf, .doc, and the document I'm uploading is a PDF, but it's not letting me add it to the booth attachments. Is that like a glitch, or is there like a naming convention it needs to follow?
So let's talk about the uploads, and thanks for asking the question. We were going to get to that, but we might as well go there now.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. So it's Chelsea. So basically what you can do is part of the setup once you receive your access is to be able to go up to your menu, My Events, and Chelsea's referring to this paperclip icon here. Once you click on this paperclip icon, you'll be able to see that you can add attachments and links. So those links and attachments will be visible on the booth from the lobby, and as I showed you, in the booth for your particular school. Now, there's a file size limitation, which is probably what you're running into. My guess is it's more than 5 or 6 meg. You might want to check that. If it's not, then you and I can have a conversation after this on what the issue is. But to add a document, go ahead and click Add. You're going to browse your system for that particular document. It's going to be a doc, docx, or a PDF. Find it, save it, and then type in the name that you want for it here. And when you click Add, this is what it'll look like. You'll see a PDF manual, and they'll be able to have a link to that. But as I said, the limitation to upload each file is 5 or 6 meg. And Chelsea, I don't know if you can take a quick look to see what that is, but that might be one of the issues. And if not, you and I can have a conversation offline.
Yeah, I might have to touch base with you after, because it's the same documents I uploaded with our previous booths, just updated with more current information. And it's highlighting it as red and saying it needs to upload a specific file name. And they're all PDF documents. I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
Any spaces in the naming?
There was originally, and then I put underscores under between all of them, and it's still having that issue.
Okay. So I would recommend to just get rid of all spaces, just try and no spaces in the naming of it, and make sure there's no space after the .pdf or anything like that. But as I said, you and I can have touch base after. That would be the only thing that I would say is when you upload a name of a document, just make sure it's no spaces or anything in between there, just to be sure that there's no glitch in uploading, and 5-6 meg max in terms of the file size limitation per file. The other thing that we can do is add your links. So under the links section up here, you can click Add, type the name that you want people to see, and then the full URL, the HTTPS here, and then go ahead and click Add. What does that look like to somebody? So what they'll see is under the documents, they'll see YouTube link, which you can see here, web link, and a PDF manual. So those are the things that are attached to the booth. And when they go inside the booth, again, they'll be able to see the paperclip and see those here as well. So that's what that looks like, to be able to upload any links and documents that are associated with your particular booth. And we highly recommend you use it. It's one of the things that you have access to be able to upload those things. We'll make sure it works right for you, Chelsea.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chelsea, what's up? Well, I'll get your information. I have it. I'll give you a call.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm so sorry if I'm backtracking, but with the leads that you were talking about before, if a student is in our booth and we do not initiate a chat with them, just if they're in it briefly and we miss them for whatever reason, are you saying we would not get lead information from them?
So here's what you can do. So even in the event itself, at the very top, one of those icons up here is looks like a bar graph. This is what we call Booth Watch. And if you go ahead and click on Booth Watch, it's going to open up a new window like this, okay? And what you'll see here, if you refresh this, you'll actually see all the people that have come into your booth. Okay, so what you can do here is, you can see if they've actually chatted with someone in the booth. You can click on that link to see who they talked to, if there's multiple representatives in your booth. You can invite them to a chat, and if you can look at their information here like this, you can get in touch with them, you can save it, you can do the information there as well. And if you did chat with them, you'd be able to see that conversation that you had during the event. So we highly recommend that you go ahead and click on the booth watch at the top here to get to see the booth visitors. It does show you those individuals that come into the booth throughout the day or the timing of the event. What I'm saying is you just won't be able to download that information, but you will be able to see the information here.
Would you be able to see that after the event has ended?
Yes, you'll be able to see that as well.
Okay, so downloading the lead is going to be, pretty important for us. So you'd suggest that we have that open pretty much at all times and save them individually?
I would just check on that. And as I said, we do capture all of those booth visitors, and we create that information for the host. So that's going to be a conversation that I can have with Joyanne on how they want to present or give that information out to the different schools.
I would have to echo Nick's thoughts that we are definitely going to want that data. I mean, that's why we're here, is to
Understood.
Gather that information. So that'd be great. Thank you.
And if I could jump in, I'm sorry, David, that is something we will most certainly discuss. It's not a problem. And that's why you're definitely here. And we will provide you with that information. Okay. So I'll just discuss it with the executive board, and then we'll get it all settled. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyanne.
Is there something where it easily shows what year a student is?
So if you're looking at someone's information, if you click on someone's information here like this, and they fill it out, that'll tell you the year of graduation is one of the items that we collect. And I believe that one is a required field.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. How do we change the logo of the school? Because the one we have seems like it's outdated by a couple of years on there. Is there a way? Because in the
yeah,
TV,
if you wouldn't mind just sending that logo information to was it Denise? Denise will be able to get us that detail for the correct logo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions that I can answer?
I was trying to add links and attachments to our booth as well, and I'm also getting an issue of not being able to load it. Is there just any way for us to perhaps get contact information to someone to reach out to if we're running into that problem?
Yeah, you can reach out to me. My email is davidh@ecareeraffairs.com.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Do you just go under, don't you just go to my events?
Yep. My events at the top right.
Right, I'm there now actually.
And hit the paperclip icon. Okay.
Okay, and I see it, links, okay.
If you do links, you click add. Name it.
Okay, I think, yeah, let me see if it'll,
Type it in and click add, and it'll add it just like that.
oh, the URL, okay.
Full URL, https://
Yeah, oh, I've got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, it's Chelsea again. So I just reduced the file size for one of my PDFs and it uploaded it right away. So the person who's also having issues, it probably is the file size because the one I was trying to upload before was 5.71 megabytes and I reduced it down to about half of that and I uploaded without any issue.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 5 meg limitation on that file size. That's gonna interfere with uploading it.
Great, thank you.
David, sorry, quick question. I just talked to Denise really quick, emailing her. When can we expect the email to come through with confirmation and also how to log in?
So as I said, a good portion of those has been sent out already. There are, I know, 16 schools left to set up. Hopefully those will be done and ready by Friday.
I have a question. When will we be able to preview the booth or the link for the information and the videos?
So you'll be able to, once that the credentials email comes out to you, that's when you'll be able to go ahead and log in and into your booth. And if you haven't received it already, as I said, like I said, there's a handful of schools that need to be set up still. I don't know which group you're in, the 16 that are left or the rest.
And
Who do we contact if we don't get an email by Friday?
You can send me a note, copy Denise, that'd be great. Preferably send it to Denise or Joyanne. Sorry, Joyanne, sorry,
Yeah,
Denise.
no, that's okay. You could send it to, no, it's fine. You could send it to me or you could send it to the NCA office manager email and we'll definitely help you out. Just definitely make sure that everything was sent in by the deadline and we will go forward with that. Not a big deal.
Joyanne, do you have any idea about the registration numbers? Because at this time, I didn't ask any of my colleagues to join me because we've done so many of these online fairs and they've been really manageable with one person. I just don't want to miss out on, I mean, if this is the one that we get swamped at, I'd love to be prepared.
You know, I have a very preliminary number that I don't have off the top of my head. I've got to look it up on the other computer at this point. But keep in mind as well, one of the biggest pet peeves of mine is that the kids register on the morning of. So in essence, what we are expecting, we're hoping to have definitely obviously more than 1,000 kids coming, which is always what our goal is. But as far as the preliminary numbers, I'll have to take a look. But understand, even if I take a look, you know, we have no idea until the actual event starts.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Is there someone we can contact? It looks like for our booth, we have another college's information on it.
Yeah, you can send that to me. That'd be great. davidh@ecareerfairs.com.
Thank you.
So I want to go back to my question about the preview. I've already set up the photograph and the links and the PDFs, but when I'm on the preview page and I click on the more information icons, my video doesn't play.
Right. That's correct. That's a preview only. You won't be able to go in and look at the video or the docs or anything like that. It's a preview of what the student would see when they come into the booth. They have the access to click on all those details, but you won't be able to see that information yourself.
Okay. So how can I check and see which video is loaded there? We have a new video that I may want to send instead.
I would say, was it the NCA office manager email? I would send it there. Say, let's see if we can get you a link to what video is uploaded for the particular school.
Okay, Thanks.
Or you can send us the new one and we'll just take a look. And if it's not there, we'll try to put it up there. Am I correct, David?
Yep, we do that as well.
Yeah, that might be a little easier, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Dave and Joanne. I was looking at my virtual booth at the current moment, and I'm seeing the preview, and it doesn't seem like my video was added to my profile. Should I just send the link again to either Joanne or David, or to whom should I send it to?
You could send it to NCA office manager at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Denise. All right, David, any other things that you need to cover?
Well, I think the questions kind of pushed into the setup, which is great. All great questions about the functionality. I think we've hit all that. If nothing major that I have to cover, we've gone through setup, we've gone through conversations, general chats, we've gone through history. So all of those things have been touched on, and based on questions, which have been great questions. And certainly, if there's any information that's left out, or you feel like there's some other questions, as I said, send it to the NCA office manager email, and we'll see if we can get everything fixed up, corrected, whatever we need to do.
Thanks, David. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time because I know this is probably not the last thing you're doing. David, thank you very much. I know I have a greater understanding, even more so than I thought I did, of the platform. And college reps, thank you so much as well for taking.
Thank you, guys.
And I do hope that you found this as helpful if you could. Understand that once I get this recording settled, I will send it out to everyone. So any colleagues that you might have heard that missed it will be getting the recording as well. But again, I really look forward to seeing everyone and seeing your booths all set up. If you have any questions, you can most certainly contact any one of us. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not thank the woman behind the NCA office manager Gmail account, Denise. Denise Pavone has been an outstanding addition to our team in running this fair and in organizing everything. And it has not been an easy task, but she does it well and with a smile. And for that, I am forever grateful to her. So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
Seeing everyone. You're very welcome, Denise.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you, David.
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks everyone for your time. I appreciate it. And let's have a great event.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.